everyone, Sue here. If you haven't been before, welcome to my channel. Now, I really used to enjoy a luxury mushroom risotto, and it had truffles in it and everything, and I can't buy it now, and I'm just craving that flavour. But what I really wanted to do was to make one up so it was like a ready meal, so that when my husband comes in, I can just stick it in the microwave and it'll be done in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So I've thought about the ingredients, and in a lot of ready meals you get the dry rice ingredients and then you get a wet ingredient that's sort of squirted in on one side, and the recipe on the box would tell you to stir that in halfway through the heating process. So what I thought I'd do was start with a mushroom rice, which is one of the ones that you can actually put in the microwave, and then as my side I thought, well, let's try cream of mushroom soup, because the effect that I'm trying to get is a creamy mushroom risotto. So cream of mushroom soup, hopefully. And for a bit more flavour, we've got the mushroom rice here and we've got mushrooms in it. On the ingredients, it's got mushrooms, onion powder, garlic powder, and the other thing that's also great in a risotto, which is not on in that mushroom mixture, is butter. But we have double cream in here, so I'm hoping that that's going to make it nice and creamy. I think I put an onion in, and I'm also going to luxury it up a bit with this mixed mushrooms antipasto that I got. I'm not going to put everything in there, but there's olive oil in there as well. And for an extra bit of luxury, because that's what the luxury one had, was some truffle. So this is a truffle pesto, and I know from experience this is really strong, so I'm only going to need a little bit of it. So that plus 1 onion is going to be my ingredients. I thought I'd use a medium onion like that and fry that down in the saucepan and then add it to the mushroom rice. Actually, I think looking at that, I think half an onion's going to be fine. I've got some butter in there, I'm just going to melt that. Now in risotto, the onion isn't burnt or caramelised, it's just softened until it's translucent. I'll just turn the heat down on that so that it doesn't burn. That butter in there also is going to create some of the nice buttery taste that's in the risotto. Now the instructions on this pack say that you should not reheat it once it's cooled, so I'm not going to add it to hot onions. I'm going to let the onions cool down and then I'm going to put everything in cold. My onions have cooled down now, so I'm going to open the rice and mix the rice in with the onions. I'll do both packets as it's for both of us. Normally you'd be cooking this in the microwave in the packet, so it's still cold and a little bit clumped together. While I declump it. I can see that there aren't that many mushrooms in there, so I'm glad I bought the antipasto mushrooms to go in there as well, because that will add a whole lot of extra texture and flavour. So I'll pop that in. Some nice wild ones in there. See how far they go. So I'll just make sure they're mixed, and then I'm going to put half in that. And then half in the other one. Just make sure they're equal amounts. So I've got my 2 microwave dishes, and now I'm going to open my tin of mushroom soup, which is going to be the base for the sauce. I love these electric tin openers. My hands aren't very strong anymore, so I use one of those out of preference. So again, I'm going to put half of this mushroom soup just on the edge there. About that much, and then half on the edge there. And then I have the truffle pesto. Just give that a sniff. That's quite strong, so I'm only going to use a very small amount of that, just to give the flavouring, because it can linger quite a lot on the taste buds. I also thought I'd sprinkle some pine nuts on the top, just for an extra added bit of luxury for this risotto. Now, I don't have a film that I can put over the top apart from cling film, so instead I'm going to use a silicone top, because that's a little bit more environmentally friendly. Now, the instructions on the rice for 850 watts is 1.5 minutes, but there is slightly more in the container, so I'm going to do it for 1 minute and then give it a stir halfway through, and then do it for another minute. So 2 minutes in all, and then I'll see how that comes out. Now that's had 1 minute. The rice feels quite warm on the outside, but I don't think it's really steaming, so I'm going to give it another minute and then give it a stir. That's certainly a lot hotter, so I'll give it a stir. You can see the soup there is definitely more fluid. I think with a risotto anyway, it's nice to have a slightly sort of wet rice that's not too al dente. One of the things I've noticed about ready meals is that people quite often forget the stirring in step halfway and then complain that it's come out too dry. it certainly does seem to look more like a risotto. So I'm going to give it 1 more minute and see how hot it is, because it has to be piping hot. That's certainly a lot steamier now. I'm going to give that a taste. The truffle in there is just enough without overpowering it too much. And yeah, I think that's quite nice. So I'll serve that up. Definitely the right consistency for a risotto without having to wait for it to boil down. If you're unable to stand over a stove or cooker for very long, you could prepare this in advance, pop it in the fridge. And there is a little garnish from my basil plant.